And this is News Today, and my name is Kimini Nyamani Amano. In our first story, members of the Tema Regional Office of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union this morning hit the streets to protest what they say is the high cost of living in the country. The over 500 workers say the demonstration was to bring government's attention to the crisis confronting businesses, resulting in incredibly low productivity and in some cases the total shutdown of some businesses. Workers said over 4,000 jobs could be lost if nothing is done about the present economic hardship. Well, now, these industrial workers also say that, well, the General Secretary of the ICU, Solomon Kote, said government must take measures to halt the collapse of industries, especially in Tema, which is affecting their jobs.
We are here this morning as workers of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union. It has become imperative for us to undertake this one-day demonstration to allow the first man of the land to appreciate the threat that is hovering on employers and, for that matter, employees as well. We find it very necessary to come to the mayor of Tema to make this presentation on the note that this city, which we call industrial city, is losing employment by the day. Others of businesses have begun folding up. And this is a real threat to our survival as workers, for which reason we thought there is no any other opportune time than today. We also want to indicate, because ICU is part of the organized labor in this country, the program coming on the 24th, we shall equally be part of it. But at this point, I want to give an executive summary of the main document to the mayor of Tema so that he will forward it to the president for necessary actions to be taken on the demands of workers in Tema. The growth and development of any nation is based on industries. For a sustainable economic growth, therefore, government must provide the enabling environment like infrastructure to accelerate growth. However, for some time now, the economy has been left in shambles, and economic conditions keep worsening by the day with no end in sight. Some of the causative factors of the unprecedented economic downturn in the country of Ghana, in the history of Ghana, can be attributed to bad and unworkable monetary and fiscal policies of the government, which only tend to look for an ad hoc solution rather than permanent solution to promote the industry growth that we are looking for. As I speak to you now, Mr. Mayor, BSI, a big company that came to this country, has packed bag and baggage and left the shores of Ghana, leaving over 200 workers stranded. Over 20 more employers are threatening the same. With the kind of ad hoc measures we are seeing, when the dollarization to the city element began, Bank of Ghana came out, gave orders, and as I speak to you now, because ICU organized banks, no more dollars are flowing to the banks. The monies are now left to the people who sit by the roadside, and the dollar to the city today is 3.5 as I speak on authority. Trade liberalization, the unhealthy liberalization of the economy, leading to excessive imports to the detriment of local industries, thus running down the very pivot upon which economy of the nation rests. By this, we create jobs for people in the industrialized countries while we starve our own indigenous jobs. We have opened this country, all kinds of things are being imported into this country, rendering the local companies that can take their feet and help us also to be closing down.
Well, Municipal Chief Executive for Tema, Isaac Ashai Adamton, who received the petition, said he would forward it to government for the necessary action to be taken.
in the best of way as we have done so far. And at the end, we would forward this to the presidency. I believe in the ability of the president. Indeed, he is a listening president, and you would very soon get a feedback on this. As for us in Tema, we would continue to explain the things we are doing. I believe tomorrow we have another opportunity for a press briefing, and some of the things you have raised, I'm very sure we'll look at them. Those that require attention within Tema, we would be apt in giving attention to them. Thank you for this document. We will forward it as we have promised you here. Thank you.
We'll say on some more demonstration-related matters. Earlier, we had told you that in the eastern region are expected to demonstrate in protest of some bad roads in the area. So are the chiefs demonstrating, or it's just a road tour? We'll go over to the eastern region now and speak with my colleague Prince Minka, who's been on the ground for us. Hello, Prince.
Yeah. Okay. So, Kamini, thank you very much. I'm currently within the Suhum Township, where, of course, the people within the area had registered their, displeasure as far as the conditions of the roads are concerned. Now, what we know for a fact now at this particular moment is that the chiefs within this area, led by the Ochehene, of course, the chiefs and his elders are waiting for the Ochehene. But what I can tell you again, Kemini, is that walking through the township, a number of drivers and residents within this area are not excited about the conditions in which their roads are. Now, some of them told me that, look, if the chiefs should declare at this particular moment that they should join them in demonstrating, they will. But the sub-chief within this area, Sabarima Kofi the First, when he called us to his palace, mentioned to us, Joy News, that look, the chiefs are not going on a demonstration. What they are doing is only to tell government and authorities that, look, they are not excited about the state in which the roads are. And that's the reason why the Ochehene and the other chiefs have been going on what they call a road inspection. But the general situation or the general atmosphere in town is that of anger, and a lot of the drivers feel this anger against authorities. They would want authorities to, as a matter of urgency, deal with their plight, and their plight is simple: fix our roads, Kemini.
Thoughts that the people you had pointed to as entourage for the chiefs, we see them moving from where they are sitting. Do we know where they are headed?
Well, like I mentioned to you, shortly the Ochehene will be here, and so the entourage of the chiefs are here purposely to wait for the Ochehene, and they've been emphasizing this point that, look, we're not embarking on a demonstration. What we are doing is simple. We just want to inspect the roads and then come and tell you, the pressmen, what we think about the roads. But again, going back to what the people within this area have been telling me, which is obvious as to what to expect from the chiefs, they are just not happy about the conditions. But I'm getting information that the Ochehene will be here shortly, and just as you can see in your shot there, they are just waiting for the Ochehene to be here, and then they can move with him to the park where they will be holding that particular press conference, and a petition is supposed to be delivered to government, and I'm told that the
Prince Minka should join us again in a bit as the Ochehene makes its way to the park in Suhum, where the press conference is supposed to be held at. We can go now.
of course, an indication that your Chihine is in, and so it has triggered some sort of excitement within this particular area. Those traders, I mean the TV repairers and the taxi drivers have stopped working, and they are just looking through to their window to see what is there. But talk about general police presence in town. There's heavy police presence, as I showed you earlier on when we reported from here. Now there you go. That's the convoy that went to inspect the roads. This is your Chinese convoy that went to inspect the roads, and you can see pressmen there trying to get a shot as it goes. But I wonder what that ship is for. Maybe for some ritual purpose, or I don't know. But let's get you more reactions as they come in. You're watching Joy News on multi-TV live around the world, and of course live here in Ghana, and we're bringing you live coverage of the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs who are expressing displeasure about the state in which their roads are. And as you can imagine, we obviously would want to rush and get all the shots that you need at this particular moment for you here on Joy News on Multi TV, and we will be getting to let you know exactly what so now we have the chief of this area going to meet up with the Ochehene, and we'll get all the reaction for you here on Joy News on Multi TV community. So this is happening now, and it's quite a frenzy atmosphere, an exciting atmosphere as the chiefs are getting ready to meet up with the Ochehene. And like I told you earlier, the chiefs are simply expressing displeasure about the state of their roads, the Suhum Road, which we brought you some shots early on Joy News on Multi TV. So at this particular moment, the Ochehene will step out of his vehicle and then meet up with the chief of this area, Saberima Kofi the first, and he's the one in your shot now. That's Saberima Kofi the first. He's in your shot, and that's the Ochehene here at this particular moment. Because this is live, and some rituals would have to be performed first. Libation will be poured first, and then they can continue from there. So the Ochehene is stepping out of his vehicle. Orientation rituals. I think the sheep. Now we know what a sheep is really for. So libation is poured. Bit of a scuffle here between the sheep. Okay, so there you go, slaughtered. Blood gushing out like that, and it's all part of tradition. If you're watching this anywhere around the world, don't be scared. It's part of tradition, and of course this is Joy News on Multi TV.
Right, and Prince, we're going to get back to you on that as soon as the event itself begins. As we understand, some rituals are taking place, or some rites are taking place ahead of the arrival of the Ochehene and the commencement of the road inspection by the Eastern Regional House of Chiefs. Earlier today, the people of Sakina Mahia here in Accra also embarks on a demonstration in protest of the bad nature of the roads in their area. We apologize for the lack of audio on that Mahia story. We'll bring it back later. Meanwhile, let's go back to stories that have to do with the Eastern region and the fact that the people of the Eastern region aren't happy about the power grid networks in their area. Now, Deputy Regional Minister Mavis Amafrimpong, who spoke to me on News Desk, reiterated government was committed to fixing the roads in the Eastern region.
I don't know anything about any demonstration that you are talking about. The letter that we've received from the president of the Regional House of Chiefs, the chiefs in the region will be taking a road tour on a certain number of roads in the region. So I don't know of any protest or any demonstration. I am aware that the chiefs, when the president had the Eastern Regional Tour about 3 months ago, he visited Nananum at the House of Chiefs, and then they made a petition, or they requested that the president should help them work on the roads because most of our roads are immotorable. Yes, and the president also promised that he would do something about it. As far as I'm concerned, and as far as I know, the president is working on a facility to work on roads in cocoa-producing regions in the country. And Eastern region happens to be one of the cocoa-producing regions. Government has been very open to chiefs and people in traditional authority. Government has been working closely with chiefs. Government respects them, and that is why whatever he does, the president does, wherever he goes, he makes sure that he meets with chiefs. The president met with them at the Regional House of Chiefs. So if there is anything that the chiefs are not comfortable, one would expect that because of this openness that government has opened to the chiefs and people in authority, I would have expected that they can organize themselves. The Regional Coordinating Council is available. My regional minister, Honorable Julius Zebra, will be glad to fix a meeting for the entire House of Chiefs to meet with the president so that they can again follow up on their request.
What you're saying is that the reason the roads in the Eastern region are the way they are is because governments past neglected them.
Hello? I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, of course, it's not just one government. And it does not take just, let's say, 2 cities or 20 cities to fix a road. It takes so much. And having said that, I would want to say to all listeners and to the good people of Eastern region that the government of President John Dramani Mahama appreciates the concern that we all have, that Eastern region, like many other regions, have bad roads. And that is why the government said he needed to set up infrastructural funds that will help fix infrastructure in the country.
Meanwhile, a member of government communication team, Fred Agbenyo, is calling on Ghanaians to put an end to the blame game. He was speaking on the AM show. Fred Agbenyo noted government was aware of the economic situation facing Ghanaians, but added measures have been put in place to address these challenges.
According to a place as a country where we need to move away from this lamentation, blaming everybody for everything, and exonerating ourselves and think that we alone we are right. You see, the problems we are going through today as a country are not problems that were born yesterday. The sections that we're supposed to take as a country 20, 30, 40 years back, that we refuse to take, is what is playing our face today. So all of us must get on board, all hands must be on deck. Where do we move away from here? What do we do? Let us bring the solutions. this whole issue of blaming somebody, this administration doesn't know what to do, it doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of time. You live in a country where you get a lot of money from is cocoa. Now, because you want to build a Bui Dam, you are going to mortgage your cocoa to the Chinese and took some money to build a Bui Dam. So your cocoa builds about 400 tons of it, goes there, doesn't bring you any money. Your gold price has come down. The oil you claim you have found, only 13.5% comes into your country. All other institutions that are making money, the telecoms and the rest, they make their money and everything goes abroad. What really is ours that we can say this is for Ghana, this is what is remaining in our economy?
That's why you're the government in place.
The point I'm making is that these are the challenges that John Mahama came to meet. You have to be very bold to be able to confront them. I don't think there's anybody out there, those who are demonstrating on roads not being good, who can say that John Mahama came, their roads were asphalt roads, John Mahama brought a bulldozer to remove those asphalts from there. Those are roads that have never seen any quota through our entire survival as a people. Nobody can say the railway industry has come what it is because John Mahama came and reversed their salary, at least for nothing at all. It is John Mahama who said, I am bold, I'm courageous, let us go ahead and implement the single spine salary. And these are the anomalies that it was supposed to really correct. Whatever the challenges are, we only need to sit down and find solutions to them. So you can lament, you can narrate, you can list all the challenges. Which of them can you blame on John Mahama? He came to me something. It's also building on from somewhere.
So it's not his fault.
The interventions that government has really led that what they want to do in the short term towards the middle term in resolving these challenges. All of us are in need together. Our way to see NDC remain in power for a very long time. My prayer and my wish is that we do the right things so that the people of this country continue to have confidence in us and vote for us. There is no way that deliberately we will just want to siphon the system, make people struggle.
You're watching news today. There's more ahead. Don't go away. Let's look at what's trending in business now. Government says it will soon announce a $1.5 billion lifeline for some key infrastructure projects that could suffer after the initial $3 billion Chinese loan meant to execute those projects was slashed to $1.5 billion. Minister for Communications Dr. Atani Delali Emmanuel says slashing the Chinese loan creates an opportunity for government to look for another $1.5 billion. He says the terms of the loan were no longer satisfactory after the Chinese demanded more oil than government was willing to offer in exchange for the record loan facility. At a mid-year budget review in Parliament last week, you recall, I'm sure, Finance Minister Tema indicated government will request the legislature to halve the $3 billion CDB loan. Now, Ghana's cashew industry generated $170 million in the form of foreign exchange earnings for the economy in 2013 alone. Deputy Brunahafo Regional Minister Justice Samuel Ejay, speaking at the closing session of a 5-day master training program for stakeholders in the cashew sector, drawn Ghana, Burkina Faso, Togo, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal and Sierra Leone, said the industry is the largest contributor to non-traditional export crops. Ghana produced more than 20,000 metric tons of raw cashew nuts in 2012 alone, with production largely centered in the Brunahafo region. The country is considered to be the hub for trading cashew by neighboring countries, including Cote d'Ivoire and Burkina Faso. In total, more than 80,000 metric tons of raw cashew nut was exported in year 2011. Now, Chinese telecom equipment maker Huawei has reported a 19% jump in sales to 135.8 billion yuan, about $21.9 million. It said it expects to make an operating profit margin of 18.3% for the period. Huawei has traditionally concentrated on making telecoms network equipment, but has benefited by diversifying into fast-growing sectors such as smartphone manufacturing. It is now one of the world's largest smartphone makers. Believe that. Right, I'll be back with some more. Thank you very much for your company here on News Today. Let's get into, just before we get into international news, let's talk about a demonstration somewhere in the West area, and we understand that residents in the area were protesting the bad nature of the roads in their communities. Road 1, Karim Dini Osman was there and he's with me here on the studio. Tell us what we are seeing now.
Well, this is actually when the police were giving warning shots following some, violent attitude that were put up by some of the protesters.
I see. Which road networks really?
Okay,
where are they talking about?
We are looking at the Afuaman township. We are looking at in Sakina. I don't know, but I'm not too conversant with the name of the town, but in Sakina, we are looking at Afuaman, we are looking at Oduman, and the Mahian roads.
That's quite a stretch.
Yes.
It's quite a stretch. With what we are seeing now, the police seem to have found it necessary to use force. Exactly what prompted that?
As I said earlier, some of the protesters were trying to get violent, and when I say violent, they blocked the roads, and the police saw no reason why they should block the roads. They thought that they could have gone about the demonstration without blocking roads.
I see. And so tell us, what happened afterwards?
Well,
were any arrests made?
No, because after the warning shots, they decided to conduct themselves in a much more civil manner, and so they went about the whole thing, though they were agitated, but they went about the whole thing in a peaceful manner, and they all finally converged at Afuaman, where the petition was presented, and MC also responded accordingly.
The road in the area must be really...
It's in a very deplorable state. In fact, I have done numerous stories on roads, but this one is in a very deplorable state, and I believe that if the people of Ashaman are watching this, I believe they will put their issue into perspective, because a common feature on this very particular stretch is stagnant pool. You see a number of them on the road, and it's very difficult
because of the rains.
Because of the rain, and the road itself is dusty, and gullies, erosion has taken over, and so it's difficult to, drive on the road. And so the man you see there is actually, sharing.
Perhaps we should listen to him.
Okay.
Perhaps we should listen to him.
I feel my poor by this time, I feel my poor I feel my poor because I say, boy, I know what do you know? I say, yeah, back about it. Minister, madam, my baby, and the winter. So, I next 4 years, more than a balance for my view.
Yes, 100%. Why? Because, my brother, if you look at from here to my town, it will take you by about 40-45 minutes to drive. But from Banyard to Ablekwa will take you like 10 minutes. The road has is over a death trap. The road is very dangerous. Look, every day, cars will lose their bumpers. They will look their because when you enter, your bumper will go off. So now I leave my car in town and I have to pick touch home. The road is massive. There was a day it's raining the night. We all have to park our cars here. The water is at waist level. We are carrying children, school children across this place, and you have to carry children to cross to school. Wait for them to bring them back. We have been buying gravels, and we the residents we buy gravels to feed the road. When it's raining, to wash the gravels. All we want is government to come and put drainage on both sides. Then when you feel it, to stay. So I'm in full support of this demonstration.
How long has
we are this situation? I've been here for 3 years, and I came and met the problem. And when I came, we formed an association, landlords, to give intervention. Self-development. Still, it couldn't work. Now we don't have water. We haven't complained about water before. We don't have water. We buy water almost about 100 Ghana cedis every month. I have a polytank, so I buy water. I don't worry people about water. But the road, there was a woman in my area. She had a miscarriage. I swear to God, she had a miscarriage. Don't go into hospital. Just going to work. She came home and she has got a miscarriage because of the road. I wish she would drive on this road in one of these torture and see.
my brother. This is terrible.
And so what happens after this demonstration?
After this demonstration, I mean, we are doing it. Good morning.
Right, so what road network is not the only problem they have. We heard from Nisaka Brown how it's affected an expectant mother. And so finally, they presented a petition.
Yes,
tell us what happened afterwards.
Yeah, well, the minister, the MCE obviously would just give them hope that the situation will be addressed, but it didn't really go down well with them because of the numerous promises they've received from successive governments regarding the construction of the road. And so they were still agitated. Some were chanting, we don't need parts, we want roads and all of that. And so we are just hoping. The MCE indicated that because of the rainy season, the construction cannot take place. And so we are looking at next month.
And I think we should pick that soundbite from the MCE.
The MCE.
Let's listen to that quickly.
The condition of our road very terrible. From Oduma, Sakina, Mahia, Afuama to Obeye. If you go towards to Bokoboko area, you will see it yourself. When the police people are coming, I ask myself, so are we part of Ghana? I ask myself, the demarcation of this country, are we part? Look at the condition, look at the people living here. Our school people are suffering. The last time the school bus, when they are coming, the school got finished. And I ask, should we have the people who represented us in the executive body? We have an MP who doesn't live in this area. We have an MP who lives at different place. What is going on? The last time that we vote for him, he told us to take our consent to address it amicably. Look at what we are going through. You yourself, the media, you see it yourself. Where are we towards going? Our ladies are leaving us, our children are dying because of the condition of the road. They always use Okada, and the police people, when they see the Okada people, they arrest them because they don't have legal backing. What is going on? We are appealing to our president. This time, nobody can fool us anymore. I'm sorry to lose I'm sorry for my words, but we are tired about what is going on. Thank you very much.
I am appealing to all of you that be patient with me. We have earmarked some resources to get those roads done for you. We'll be unable to tar all the roads, but at least they are so much in a bad shape that we need to tar them. And as an assembly, every year, we make resources available to do reshaping, graveling, and making the road easily accessible to all of you. But because it is rainy, it will not be a wise way of using the money. So please be patient with us. Once we see of July, next month, I promise you, you will see the grader on the road. It is not because you are demonstrating that we have to do the road. We know we have a responsibility to do the roads. So be patient with us. Plans have already been concluded. Resources have been released to the Department of Urban Roads to do the roads for you. So you will see from next month that the road will be done. If I attempt as Chief Executive to invest the taxpayers' money this month into the roads, Once we finish, the rain will come and destroy it. So be patient with us. We understand your plight. We understand your situation. We also use the roads. I come round to inspect projects, and I also use them. I know they are in a very difficult situation. So please take it easy. We will do them for you. And that was the promise I gave to your leaders when I met them. And I have not forgotten about it. You can hold me to it. That next month, it's not only about in Sakina, Afuaman, Manhia, and all the other areas you have mentioned. In fact, most of the areas in Ga West, the roads are not too good. And the resources that we have made or we have earmarked for this year, we'll use them to do all the other roads for you. So it's not only this area.
Right. And so that's the MCE of Ga West. Were they convinced afterwards?
No, because this comes as one of the numerous promises, as I said earlier, to just calm them, you know. But they have indicated that, fine, next month. But if the MCE doesn't do anything, the demonstration will resume. Thank you very much, Redwan. Redwan Karim Dini Osman has been giving us an update on the demonstration on the... Before I go, look again at my top stories. Industrial and Commercial Workers Union of Tema staged protests in the area over the state of the economy. Chiefs and residents in the eastern region demand government takes action to improve poor road networks in the region. Meanwhile, residents along the Sakina Menshia Ablekuma Road have been promised next month the road will be fixed after they demonstrated over the poor nature of the road. Deputy Chair of African Union Commission Erastus Wenche says the U.S.-Africa Summit will provide an opportunity for Africa to enhance cooperation with the United States. Find more news on MyJoyOnline.com. I'm totally grateful for your company. Enjoy the rest of the week. My name is Kimini Nyamani Amano.